Welcome to the Profitable Cleaner podcast. Join your hosts, James Harper and Angel Sandoval, bringing you the experts, discussions, and knowledge you want. We talk about sales, technology, marketing, operations, strategy, leadership, mindset, health, God, and so much more. Now, are you ready to profit?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Profitable Cleaner. We are back. Do you have those little sound effects? We are back. Wait, let's see which one he chooses. Oh, there's an actual bomb there. I didn't know that. Okay,
There's
good.
a bomb. There's a lot of stuff, but regardless, we're back, baby.
There you go. There's one. No, I'm super excited, man. I'm super excited. It's gonna be a new season. As you can tell, there's gonna be more better equipment set up, and we're not done yet. There's gonna be better lighting. I'm just kidding now, but we're really gonna be way more intentional than we were for the first 92 episodes. Our first 92 episodes, I feel like first through 30, man, was just more about like learning and still have no clue what we were doing. Then we started getting some traction. We started picking up on speakers and how to ask questions, how to interview, what to look for, what do people want. And I think after like 92 episodes, we finally know what we want because of how much feedback we get from our listeners, right? And I think we've like handpicked a lot of these speakers, but now we know what questions to ask. I think um, like if you want, what's the saying? Like if you want the answers to life, you just ask better questions, right? It's that simple. And so I think we're
That's
coming
right.
hot with these questions, man.
Totally, man. I'm super pumped to be back here for another season, but really it's like kind of like a rebirth of the Profitable Cleaner. Like we spoke about when we were shutting down for the last 6-8 weeks, whatever it was. Um, we realized that we had to elevate our game and elevate our game because of you guys listening currently right now. And I'm just excited, man. What gets me most jazzed about kind of the upcoming stuff we have planned for the podcast is truly the people from not just the guests and everything that we're going to learn, but the people that we get to meet from the podcast that listen to you guys listening right now. And then when you think about it, that makes total sense because this is such a people based industry. The facilities service industry doesn't run without great people. So I'm excited about the multitude of new conversations we're going to be able to put on recording and bring to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, let's give people some little bit of insight. I think a lot of you have seen. I mean, so look, there's a lot. When we started this just for. We'll be fully honest. We started the podcast just to get into the industry and do some lead generation. That was like our main purpose, because we were known. I think this last year and a half, going into two with the podcast, has definitely changed the dynamic. I think we went from this podcast is for lead generation into its separate entity completely, right? We've actually decided, for those that don't know, to make it a complete different entity. It is no longer attached to our agency Dayporter, that they are officially detached, quote unquote. I say quote unquote because, as you guys can tell, I mean, James and I are gonna go together till basically we die, right? Almost like a marriage. It is like a marriage, but a business marriage.
Till death do
Um,
us part.
till death do us, death or lack of money, and the business goes under. But no, that will never happen. No, but let's give you guys some insight. So we actually, no one knows this. This is literally the first time we ever make this live and make this public. We actually separated it and made it into its own entity. So the Profitable Cleaner and Cleaning Profits are one entity. The reason it became a complete separate entity, and the way we're treating it as such, as a separate business, is because of the monster that both the podcast and the event became. We were literally getting staff just for these two, the podcast and the event, because it no longer can be almost like a side hustle or a side thing of a bigger company. It now has to take the love, take the effort, take the money, the investment that it needs to get to the next level. And so for those that are going to be thinking about going to the event, the ones that do have tickets for the event, I'm telling you right now, there's a difference. We're saying it's called this. There's a reason we're calling it the statement. There's going to be a difference from last time. The podcast will be different. The event will be different. The attention to detail, the questions, everything's going to be so intentional because it's a separate entity. Now, even though it's a separate entity, you might be asking yourself, like, all right, so then how do you guys play here? I see James over there with Dayport rocking it hard, Angel too, but I also am looking at Angel's background on YouTube and I see source. James and I have methodically building out an ecosystem for companies like yours. Let me tell you why though. If you look at our first 70, 80 episodes, most of our conversations were about story and about sales. Now, I love story and I love sales. Here's the catch though. People were coming to us asking us about technology, about operations, about proposals, about supplies, about equipment, and then James and I would be like, I wish is that like a cricket sound effect? That would
Like
have been a cool
we
sound.
just don't know. But you ask us a question about operations, it's a joke.
Yeah, we don't know. Hey, there you go. There, setting it up. I like it. So I decided to move down to Houston, and James and I decided, honestly, I'm telling you, it's like a marriage, that me moving to Houston, even though I was living in Denver next to my business partner, made more sense because we had to build, like, if we're really going to commit to the industry, James has the plug with the facility manager. So he has his wife that can forward information. Now I'm inside of the technology portion and more involved. So our goal, and the reason we're telling you this, is because we want you to know that if we created the podcast and the event its own entity, I joined the technology and operations realm. James is married to a facilities manager, and we're running our own business, which is day porter. The reason I'm telling you this is because when I'm telling you we're committed to the industry and most importantly, we're committed to you. And so we're super excited to be able to put our money where our mouth is, put our time where our mouth is, double down and bet on ourselves in the industry. So we're here to make the statement just like our event.
Totally, man. I think it comes down to, and anyone listening, maybe ask yourself this question: are you pouring on as much as you can to the ones around you? And as the show grew and as we got to meet a lot of you guys and then our event happened, you guys were the ones around us at the end of the day. Although maybe some of us have actually never met face to face, we've never shaken hands, we interact with a lot of you guys. We've met a lot of our guests on a personal level from this show. So we really had to like pour on to our listeners and really like level up our game for our guests, because there's only a certain level of questions you can ask, especially if you have a repeat guest. What's kind of interesting on the show, which is about to change. There's a little bit of a tease coming up, but we've never had a repeat guest in the first 92 episodes. They were literally 70 plus different guests. Well, when you bring someone back on the second time, you are already familiar with their success story. You're already familiar. We've already talked about their sales strategy for their janitorial company. So we have to level up our game when we have a repeat guest on or a new guest that might not fit the commercial cleaning realm, that can still give us and you value. So it's just like pouring on to our listeners and really pouring on to our guests to the best of our ability, which is why now we're married to the game, just like you guys have been and are. So hopefully we can continue that relationship with you and just provide as much value as possible.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're like you said, provide value. Value is going to come of all sorts, right? Whether it's support, whether it's actual services, whether it's technology, whether it's just love and friendship, whether it's a prayer over you, anything we can do. I mean, we're really going to commit to the space. Um, you know, now that we're talking about that, we're talking about leveling up and about commitment, and we're gonna do. We wanted to do this first episode just to get one, so that you guys knew what to expect. I mean, if you think we've been creating content now, prepare yourselves. If you think we've been asking the right questions, prepare yourselves. If you think you've seen what we can do, prepare yourselves, because now you're gonna see, feel, and you're gonna join. I know it. We're here to create a movement. It's no longer about just a cool podcast for lead gen. If we don't get any leads or what, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. This is not about us anymore. This is about you guys. This is about the listeners. So because we're talking about the listeners, I'm gonna ask you guys one question. Got one question. How are you leveling up? right? Are you putting your money where your mouth is? What are you betting on right now? It's interesting because I actually enjoy gambling once in a while, especially like with sports, and sometimes I like playing 21. Those are kind of like bad gambles because you have zero control over it, right? You're just there. I like betting on myself a lot. So I like the idea of putting money and effort. Sometimes a lot of people don't like putting money, time, right? There's been times where I won't go to bed until 2, 3 in the morning, right? Times where I had to sacrifice time with my wife. Times where I also had to pick her over the business. But regardless, what I'm saying is, how are you guys leveling up? What are you doing to level up? And don't give yourself the bullshit answer. That's kind of what's been happening lately, and I don't know if you've noticed it, James. Not in the industry, but in society as a whole, we're just celebrating anything at this point. We're celebrating anything, and we're also accepting everything. And
Hmm.
you know, I don't like it. I just don't know. I like it. I like the fact that, I guess, no, I don't like any of it. I don't like any of it. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I just can't. There's standards, there's expectations, and I think now people are taking the bare minimums as somehow the bare minimums being what is required to be more and to do more. And you can't do that. If anything, competition in life is so intense right now. Like, there's players everywhere, right? That you have to overdo it. You have to raise the standard in everything that you do. And so, my question to anybody listening right now is, what is your standard and what is your level? What are you allowing yourself to celebrate, and where are you taking back? And like one of our guests is going to teach y'all, like, where are you actually learning from your failure and actually understanding why you lost? I don't think a lot of people do that. Even me with my wife, like, I've had to take moments where I'm like, am I actually being a great husband, or am I just better than the shittier boyfriends and shittier husbands? Because if that's my metric, hell yeah, I'm freaking awesome. But if that's not my metric, then I'm not doing awesome. So my question to everybody here is just like, who are you comparing yourselves to? What is the standard? How are you leveling up? This We have 6 months left in the year. We have to make something big happen. You have to level up. You have to not celebrate bullshit.
No, I agree, man. One thing that like comes to mind when you're saying that is what I've heard here lately is like, oh, people overlook cleaning, they overlook janitorial, or sometimes I'm just viewed as a janitor, I'm just viewed as a cleaner. And it's like, well, that is true. People do overlook this industry often, but let's now turn the mirror back on ourselves. What are we doing to, like you said, set the standard, set the stage to level up yourself so you are presenting different, not just for yourself and your company, but you're making a mark within the industry. You're providing a different level of attention and value to your customer, to where they have a different feeling of experience when dealing with a facility services expert, let's say. And I've heard a lot of like excuse making lately, like, oh, it's the clients, it's the market, it's the price, people overlook us, things of that nature. And it comes down to all of
But
that
like,
can be
isn't
true.
that just business though? Like, that's what I don't get. Why do people say that and then we just all accept it? Like, if you look at all the Facebook and all LinkedIn, man, it's the
Exactly.
market. What did you expect to open a business without a market? Like, you need a market. You need people that are buying. Oh, it's just the price. Well, yeah, but price
Totally.
gets influenced by what? Gets influenced by overhead. So how are you spending your money? By what you pay your employees, by your profitability, with how you keep operational control. Like, it's I learned from one of our mentors, right? Like, and I won't drop too much sauce here, but it's like, sometimes you gotta win the contract and be okay with not making money from it, just breaking even. If there's opportunity for you to win more contracts in the long term from that one client, if the opportunity growth is bigger than your cash contract, like your cash value. But why do people want to look at it? Like, why do we want to complain about the almost like, we're playing chess, like, oh man, but the other person has a white horse and a tower and a queen, and I have this. It's like, yeah, That's competition, my friend. There's competitors, there's a market, there's a price. Right? Like,
Here's
but
the
that's the
game.
game. The question is, what game are you playing? Where are you gonna fall in the game?
So speaking of games, I actually have a game for all of us to play. And if you're listening right now, try this out. This is by Jocko Willink, Navy SEAL. He wrote Extreme Ownership. Great book. If you haven't read it, it slapped me in the face because basically everything's your fault. So he has this practice where it goes through like, hey, for one day, start with one day and then do 1 week and see how your perspective changes, where you can't complain and you can't blame. And if something comes up where you feel like complaining or you feel like blaming, you have to say, how am I the problem? Like what is my part in it? And it's your fault. Like, why am I at fault here? So like, I don't know, like let's say you have a bad exchange at the grocery store with the clerk, right? For I don't know, for whatever reason. You can be like, "Oh, that's horrible customer service." It's like, "No, how am I at fault? I reacted. I allowed that moment to get the best of me, and I gave a lesser version of myself." So I have a challenge for everyone listening. For one day, and we all want to complain, whether it's traffic, whether it's our employees, whatever, our spouses. Anytime you feel like complaining or you want to blame, you have to stop. Don't say it out loud, and you have to ask yourself, how am I at fault? And why am I at fault? And the answer can't be, I'm not. Because if you're feeling that, you're a part of it. And then once you do it for a day, do it for a week. If you go through it for a week, you start to realize after a week that I'm taking extreme ownership of everything in my life. Like, I hate this. Sometimes Angel, I mean, we have a team. We have a team virtually, and like we're no better than anyone else. I mean, we struggle with everything that everyone struggles with, and there'll be times we'll be like, oh, so and so didn't do this, or so and so, and there'll be times that Angel will be like, well, honestly though, that's because of us. That's our fault. 100%. It's like the slap of reality. But then all of a sudden you look at yourself and you start evolving, you start changing, and you take ownership versus just playing the blame game, which is a net loss for everyone. So our
No, I
first
agree,
challenge on
man.
this show,
What's the first challenge?
our very first challenge on this show, one full day. You can't complain, you can't blame, and at the moment that you feel like you're going to, even if you get cut off in traffic, you have to ask yourself, why are you at fault? And the answer cannot be, I'm not at fault. So, talking about elevating your standards, that's one way to start, is just with extreme ownership. And it takes away all of the excuses of market, price, customers, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes with everything, man. Like, even again, I keep going. I'm recently married, so I was reading like a book on masculine energy and all this stuff, right? And it even says there, like, oh yeah, you might think that your wife just happens to be retracting, or she just wants to pick up a book, or she just wants to start doing, and you're thinking that it's just her changing and you're just there to support her. But what if you led her that way? It literally says right there, like, what if I told you you're the cause of that? And when you take accountability into that, then it makes you look at your relationship different. Same with business, right? Like, you and I have both try to pin it on anybody, on somebody else, and on each other, and then sometimes like it doesn't really matter. But if I take up ownership of everything that's happening, then I have no choice but to also take ownership of the solution, right? Like, now it's up to me to fix it. That's why one of my favorite quotes: if it's meant to be, it's up to me, right? And of course, God has a bigger master plan, but if God wants you to follow a specific plan, you just do what's in front of you, then you'll get to that next plan, right? I mean, I'll be honest, I'm super excited. I'll shift a little bit here, but do that challenge that James told you. If you get home and your kids are overdoing it, and you guys are having a weird dinner, just be like, if this was my fault, what did I do and what could I do better? How can I improve the situation? Don't complain, right? Don't complain. Like today, literally, as I was heading to work, my car literally didn't start. And for a second there, I was like, I got angry. And then I was like, all right, well, what can I do? Well, just take an Uber. I can afford to take an Uber. So I grabbed, took an Uber. Cool. What can I do after that? I can get somebody to check out the car, get a jump start. Cool. What after that? I should probably go get a quote on a new battery or take it to the mechanic and figure it out before I get caught with it. Cool. What after that? Well, there's really nothing else I can do, so I'm gonna enjoy my day with my wife and work out. Cool. Right?
So
When it
what
could have
you
turned into something so much bigger, but it's like, if this was my fault, then I have to fix it, right? And in order to fix it, I just take an Uber. That fixes the immediate problem right there and then.
what you did there, man, is, and this is something I'm recently learning. If you guys don't know who Ryan Holiday is, seriously follow the guy. He's an awesome author. But he talks about objective thinking and perspective thinking, and it hit me like a rock. All my life, I have viewed my thinking through my perspective, which we all do naturally, right? And perspective does help us. There's times that we have to put our perspective and our perception on things that helps us assume and gives us foresight. It is a benefit. But so much of us, we rely in just perspective thinking to where, oh, this happened, so this must be true. When if we look at it objectively, like you did with your car, like, okay, there's nothing I can do about it. What My car is not working. What do I do now? Oh, I get an Uber. Okay, I get the Uber, I get to work. I'm at work, I respond to my first email. You're just looking at it objectively, and you were probably able to get yourself in a better mindset versus, oh man, this always happens to me. This always happens at the worst time. I don't need this in my life right now. That's just your perspective. Now, yeah, it doesn't make it less suck, if you will, but objectively, it still is what it is. And what's the next thing you're doing to overcome that? And then you realize your perspective actually changes, it elevates when you look at things objectively first. And then you use perception when you need to.
Yeah, that's so good. Objective thinking. I think there's a book like Turning Pro, or I think Michael Burt says this a lot. If you haven't checked him out, check him out. He says some good stuff of like, professionals don't depend on feelings or don't use feelings. I think it's true, man. I'm not, and again, emotions versus feelings are different, right? Just so we're on the same page. I won't go into that, but like, you don't allow how you feel to help you make decisions. Like, you start first with logic and objectives. And I think like when you make decisions emotionally, it's because you actually don't know what the objective is, right? And so like, even if I think with my, again, I'll go back to wife, I'll go back to even fitness, for example. Even like fitness. If I don't have a clear objective, I will depend 1000% on how my body feels and how my mind feels. I'm sore in my triceps, therefore that means I shouldn't do tricep. Oh, I feel tired, therefore that should probably mean I did work out too hard. But if my objective is to compete X, Y, and Z, to do X, to do this, to get this specific body, like if you have a specific objective, or if my objective is to become whatever, a professional in this, again, I'm just using random, like in workouts, like when I go to CrossFit, my objective when I was there is learn every single exercise and get strong. That's it. So anytime someone tells me anything, I'm not going to say anything. If they tell me to work out 5 times a day, yes, sir. Doesn't matter how I feel, because my emotions don't matter here. I have one objective, and that's to learn every exercise and get strong. Are my feelings gonna help me learn exercise or get strong? No, 1000% of it. Like, no, I just show up. Like, dude, it's crazy. I'll go to some workouts, and my knees are literally about to like give out. I start making excuses in my head, but I have no choice because there's someone right behind me training me and showing me and making me do it, right? So, um, same thing in business, same thing in life, same thing with your partner. Like, what is the objective right now? Is it just to make the marriage survive? Is it to improve sexual activity? Is it to get healthier because one of you ended up going to a doctor? Is it like, what's the current objective of your marriage? Because you can't just say we're gonna, it's crazy. I'm going on a tangent here, but it's crazy. We always say like, oh, we're gonna be together forever till death do us part. What are the milestones in between? Is it just time? Like, I've noticed actually
Yeah,
that
yeah,
most
great
milestones are
question, dude.
just times, bro. Like,
Dude,
oh,
no
10 years.
doubt, man.
How long y'all been married? Or why do you love your marriage? Well, we've been together for 65 years. I don't know what that means anymore. It's like, time is just objective, really? Like, what if someone's married for
Yeah,
20 years but has an average marriage, and somebody else is married 15 years and they just go freaking run through walls together? So, like, that's been making me think in my relationship, what's our season? What's our objective here with my wife and I? right? Is it fun? Is it
So
marriage? Is it love? Is it money? Is it peace? Is it communication, financial communication? Is it like, what is it? What are we doing? Travel? I don't know.
yeah, I love that, man. Man, that's a really great point. Is the objective, especially in marriage or maybe even in business, just time? Are you just doing time? I heard a really good quote this morning actually from Tony Robbins. He said, "Leaders anticipate, losers react." And
Hmm.
he actually talked exactly like that. Are you just reacting to your day? And he literally says, just doing time. Are you just reacting and doing time? Or are you anticipating? And based on those anticipations, are you making moves that will serve what you're anticipating? And your anticipation can be wrong, right? So, like, and man, that's really interesting.
But the
I
only, dude, what you just said right there, the anticipation, the only way to anticipate something is by knowing what game you're playing, and the objectives
exactly
to
knowing
win
the
the game.
objective.
Yeah,
Yeah, being clear
how
on
do I
it.
even win the game? So like, it's even in business, you're right. Some people do it based on time. Some people do it based on profit. Some people make base it off employee size. Some people base it off, but the game of businesses is profit, revenue, and profit. So like every time you make a decision, it's like, can this lead me? Doesn't mean you need to increase profit at that moment right there and then. That's, I think, where people get stuck. They kind of look at the games, again, marriage, same thing, everything, friendships, family, business partners. They look at the game, but they look at the game as if they were like a little pigeon. Like, have you ever seen a pigeon eat? It just eats, I think, like what's right in front of them. It doesn't. I don't even know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
even know
yeah,
if
yeah,
pigeons
yeah.
can look up. Right? They just look down and whatever finds them right in front. But if you look like at an eagle looking, if you looked at things like an eagle did, right? An eagle can see everything. It can literally see thousands of fish in the lake, and it just chooses not to hunt all of them, right? It's like paying
It picks
very
that
clear
one.
attention. Yep, picks one, knows when it's gonna happen. He already realized the miles per hour that he's gonna go down. He's ready to rock and roll, and so like that's a different, that's a different one. So you know, anyways,
Dude, let me mess you up a little bit more here.
please
So,
do.
based on my my learnings this morning from the great Tony Robbins, and just so everyone listens here, I love Tony Robbins, but like I'm not like a Tony Robbins like guy. Like there's like some
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
avid followers, but like he's got substance. I honestly I'd probably like to be a Tony Robbins avid guy, but I'm not. But that's who I was studying this morning. He talked about, you had mentioned seasons. I know we had Nicholas Barley on this show. He talked about how business comes in seasons, your life comes in seasons. Tony Robbins broke it down so damn good this morning when it comes to seasons. And I encourage everyone to ask what season you're in. So, like back in the day, we were hunters and gatherers. We would just like hunt stuff and gather food, and it was survival mode. And then we realized, oh, you can plant seeds in the spring and they grow, or you can plant seeds in early spring, they grow in the summer, you eat in the fall, you have enough throughout the winter, and you do it again. That's when we started building communities. So he said, look at your life as seasons. So like basically 0 to like let's say 24, it's springtime. Everything happens easily. Things are growing. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're learning, like it's just organic, right? 25 to like I think he said like 42 or
40,
something.
yeah.
That's summer. That's when uh things are hot, but you know what's what, and you're really having to like work and thrive, but that's like your thrive time. And then 40 to 65 is your fall. That's where all of a sudden you start to become a mentor. Your life is really full and you are preparing to give back for the last part of your life, which is winter, right? So 65, hopefully to 105 or 65 to 85, whatever that last chapter of your life is, that's where now you have given so much and you've done so much. Now you're giving back, but now people are taking care of you. The seasons and the cycle and the world is taking care of you. So it's interesting. What season of life are you in? Like, I'm technically in summertime. So am I working like it's summertime so I can have a better next season from 40 to 65? Um, it's an interesting concept, man. That just
Yeah, no,
really, we
I
mentioned
think
seasons, it
seasons.
triggered me.
Yeah, no. See, and you're right, bro. See, like understanding seasonalities is important both in personal and in business. And I think, yeah, dude. Like, it's so funny because people are like, dude, just take a break sometimes, or just. And I'm like, I don't. That's not the season that I'm in personally, right? That's not. And I'm not gonna be the guy that retires at 65 and then enjoys life, or at 55. Like, I'm done. I'm done earlier. You know what I mean? But that's why right now we have to. Like we're planting our seeds right now. We're planting
At
our seeds right
65,
now,
I'm not doing shit. I'm just kidding.
bro. You know, even like at 45, I better be freaking very well set, where I don't have to worry about anything and just have. Not that I'm not having fun right now. I'm having a lot of fun. I think like even though we're hustling, even though we're working hard, you still gotta enjoy life. But again, don't forget. And I know we're coming into 30 minutes here, so we'll wrap it up. But I guess the last thing I want to leave you with is one, come to our event, Cleaning Profits 2.0, the statement. Honestly, ask yourself like, what statement have you made this year? What you're making a statement, whether you think about it or not. You're making a statement about your body, about your partners, about life, about your gratitude, about how much you complain. Like, there's a statement is made daily from you, whether you realize it or not, right? And so my question is, look internally, really look internally, look at your life, close your eyes, and figure out where you're at and ask yourself, what actual statement am I making this year? And if you don't know what that statement is, or if you're being fully transparent and going, damn, dude, like I haven't actually done something worth it this year, which is fine. It happens. I've been there. Then get yourself to the event, because we are going to bring that out of you. You're gonna come in, and when we talk about transformational, I don't say it just with like woo. It's gonna be some strategic stuff. We're gonna break the mold. We're gonna break your brain. We're gonna break your beliefs that you have in certain things in business, and we're gonna reshape them up, rewire them, and bring out a better version of you. So make sure you stay with us here in the podcast. Make sure you join us, because we're making a statement. And
Yeah,
the reason we're making
I
it
want to
is
shake
because you're
hands.
gonna make one, you
Yeah,
know?
totally, man. I want to shake hands with you guys listening. And if I'm lucky enough, I want to give you guys a hug at the end of the day. And this
Break
isn't
some
just
bread
like,
together.
yeah, break some bread together. That's, man, the last event was so remarkable, the relationships and the community that came from it. This year, I believe it's going to be that times two. And if you're listening to this and maybe you're thinking about, if you've had one small little thought, should I go to this event? Um, Obviously, I'm biased, but I would say, what are you doing to invest in yourself that's going to better not just your business, but your surroundings? Like, what was one of the coolest things about the event is we're like coming out like 6, 7, 8 months out of it. And I know people that met at that event in Denver, and they're doing business together. They're subcontracting across the country. They're throwing each other leads, referrals, like literally as of this week that has happened.
And they're going to work
And
together, right? It's awesome.
exactly, man. And then they're going to come back at an event too, fired up, powered up. And like, it's not just about you learning, it's also about, again, how can we pour onto you? How can you pour onto others? There's something that you have that can benefit someone there. And I don't know who that is. I don't know what that is, but I guarantee you, like, everyone's your teacher. You have the chance to also serve someone too. So absolutely,
Uh,
Cleaning Profits 2.0, man. I want to see everyone there. I want to shake hands with you. I want to give you a hug, and let's make that happen.
yeah, make sure you join us. And one other thing to share here. Um, when was the last time you were served, right? Like, I think that sometimes we all just, a lot of you are CEOs, a lot of you guys got your teams, a lot of you lead the house, a lot of you are the ones that pay the bills, a lot of you are the ones that
Well
have to make the
said.
tough decisions. I sent a voice message to a guy, and I'm like, bro, you're always like the keynote speaker, you're always emceeing, you're always like running the like I always see you doing it. I was like, when was the last time you actually paid to not do that? Like, when did you invest in yourself? And I'm not talking about a spa. What if you could just let somebody else grab you, mold you, inspire you, change you, help you transform without putting it all on your shoulders? I think that's not talked about enough. Like, when I joined masterminds, is because I didn't have to think. I knew that come that date, my life was gonna get this momentum, this shift, this fire,
Totally.
without me having to put in that work. Now I actually have to execute what they taught me, but I knew I was gonna go somewhere where somebody was gonna pour onto me. Multiple people were gonna pour onto me so well that I finally could relax and just get poured on. In this world now, there's people that, like, we always have to be on the move, and yes, I agree. You always have to be working, but there's a reason community is crucial to people like you making the tough decisions, wanting to grow, and like again, you already broke off of the regular norm of just doing the bare minimum. Most of you listening to this, you guys are already doing more than you should. You guys are overdoing it. You guys have a clear vision, and you guys have been called to do something great. If you've been called to do something great, then let God put those war buddies around you, generals, guides, mentors, and inclining prophets. Let us just pour onto you so much. Invest in yourself to not think on how to do something. Instead, let us show you how to do it. Let us help you find a newer version of yourself. Let us bring you bigger companies that are going to save you years. And that way you can just come in and be served. Let us serve you. And we're going to serve you to our best of our ability, hands down. So make sure you get yourself there, and we'll see you at Clean Profits 2.0. And stay tuned for all the Profitable Cleaner podcasts. Man, James, thanks for being here, bro. Super excited to keep on this journey into another 92 episodes before our next rebrand, I guess, right? Another 92
Yeah.
episodes, though.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in 92 plus episodes, but thank you, Angel, and thank you guys for rocking with us and continuing to rock with us. If you guys found value in this, definitely reach out to us, leave a comment on the YouTube video. If you guys really found value in this, the best thing you can do is leave us a review or follow us on Spotify, but leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Obviously, all the links below is how you can get in touch with us. And we love to hear from you. So just like we you guys feed off of us. I hear that. It's so cool hearing you guys say, "Oh, I was listening to your podcast when I was in this building last week." We feed off of
I
that.
know, that's
So
cool.
if you guys, yeah, tell a friend to tell a friend, man, if you found value in this. And yeah, let's keep rocking it. And I can't wait for what's in store. And I can't wait to hug you guys listening come September 12th through the 14th. Let's make that happen.
Boom. Let's do it. Let's do it. Thank you so much, bro.
Thanks, man.